أعوذ بالله من نفسي ومن الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على الأشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المنتجبين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله الأعظم في الأرضين أما بعد قال الله تعالى في كتاب المبين أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. Please recite a salawat. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وأجل فرجه. Alhamdulillah, we've covered some very important points, and today inshallah we will continue our discussion on that. But like Brother Abbas pointed out, those who were feeling the youth deep inside them, without me having to remind or Maulana Azadar have to point out, they found their place, rightful place among the youth. And inshallah, we pray to Allah that they have a prolonged youth and a fruitful youth, and let this youth be of service to the Imam of the time. Please recite for one salawat for all of us so that we can be among the Nasirin of Imam Zamana Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Faraja. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal faraja. And like we discussed yesterday, that in this whole day of 24 hours, 1440 minutes, we would choose to do one act where we would donate or gift the complete rewards of it to the Imam of our time. So let's all together, because when you do it individually, it has its own effect, but when you do it together on the Farsh Aza, it has its own impact. So a loud salawat where we gift the rewards to the Imam of our time on Shab-e Arba'in with the niyat that with absolute tawajjuh we send this gift to the Imam, and we expect that Imam also does absolute pure tawajjuh towards us, inshallah. A loud salawat as a gift to the Imam of our time. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. So the 5 important points or steps that we discussed yesterday was that one, that we send salams to the Imam of our time with tawajjuh. The second one was to talk to Imam for 1 minute and we pour our heart out, be it the challenges of the day or the glad tidings or the good things that has happened or the difficulties that we faced in the day. We share it with the Imam of our time for 1 minute in the day. Point number 3 was to send gifts to the Imam of the time. And point number 4 was that we relate to the pain that he is going through, so that when we talk to the Imam of the time, we talk to him with this connection, trying to relate to the fact that some of my amal are causing pain to the Imam of the time, and I will make an effort to cause lesser pain to Imam every day, moving towards the point where I do not cause any pain to the Imam of the time. And finally, the last point where we said, does anyone remember what did we say in the point number 5? You know why I asked this question? Because yesterday when I was discussing these important points, I did not see anyone taking down any notes, not even in the mobile phone. Now generally you check your WhatsApp, you look at your Facebook and all that stuff. But when we are talking something that important, that how do I connect with my Imam of the time, and you won't find this information anywhere else in any of the books. This happens to pass from Ustad of Akhlaq and Orafa, who've personally walked this path and have gained this knowledge, and this knowledge gets shared with their students, and when we come and share this knowledge, this is a very, very important knowledge. And unfortunately, we do not give this knowledge as much importance as possible. So I will leave point number 5. I will not mention it here, only for the reason that most of you should go back and listen to the lecture on the YouTube and make note of point number 5 from there. So I've discussed 4 points. I'll leave the point number 5 for you to go and discover yourself. Now we are left with a very important question here, that when we do all these actions and when we try and make an effort to connect with the Imam, this connection builds that attachment that we've already discussed, that there is a progress from attachment to love, love to dependency, and then dependency to desperation. So we spoke about this, that this is how the process goes about. And somewhere we feel that, why do I need to feel that dependency, right? But if you look at the dua, if you look at the various duas that are there in Saif-e Sajjadiyah, or if you look at dua Yastashir, right? Even the Aimma alayhi salam, we gave the example of dua Arafah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, that even the Aimma alayhi salam constantly declared it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are muztar for you, we are dependent upon you, our existence is only because of your benevolence. When you and it is with your will that we exist and we have this authority. But if you choose to take away your will from us and absolve this authority, we are nothing without it. So we saw this dua from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, where Imam Hussein alayhi salam is saying in dua Arafah, "Awqifni ala marakiz istirari." Make me aware of those essential points on which my existence depends. And then we spoke about that in detail. Imam Ali alayhi salam in dua Yastashir, he says, "Antal mujib wa anal muztar." What does Antal mujib mean? Means you are the one who answers, and I am the one who's desperate. I am the one who's dependent. I am the one who's in need of your answers and in need of your solutions. So even an Imam, that is Imamul Muttaqeen, he is declaring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I'm mustar. And there's nothing wrong about being mustar towards someone who is in higher status than you are. So if I look at myself today and I look at the Imam of the time, I see that he's at a much higher status than I am. And there's nothing wrong to depend upon the Imam of the time and declare my dependency upon him, saying that, yes, Mawla, I am absolutely dependent on you. Right? Today, I happen to have some discussions with some of the youth and some of the people, and they brought out some important questions and points that, what about this? How about that? How does this work out? And from those discussions, I'm just pointing out a small example here. Then, when it's time for us to give sadaqah, and we put our hands in our pocket, how much do we take out and give away as sadaqah? The moment we put our hands inside and we pull out and we see there are 3 currency notes in my hand. First one is 50. I'm like, oh, 50, no. The next one is 10. Oh, that is also too high. And the third one is 2. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. And so what do we give away? I had 50, 10 and 2. But I give 2. I do not give 50. But when it comes for us to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts his hand in his pocket, he pulls it out and is like, oh, my abd, my banda, my lover is asking me to bless him with rizq, with ghani, make him independent, give him money. So let me give him. Oh, 50. That's too much. 10. Oh, no. 2. Are you getting the point? Oh, you should realize the fact that my action is what will bring the reaction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now here's a very, very important question. Why does this happen? that when I have 50, 10 and 2, I always end up giving 2 and not 50. That is because we lack in this faith, the element of faith. Let me give an example here so that a lot of you can relate with it. When it comes to money, we are a little stingy, and this is an accepted fact. How many of you are worried about the flowing water from the taps of your house? When you open the tap, there's water there. When you go to sleep, are you worried that, oh, what will happen tomorrow? Will there be water tomorrow? Will there be water till the afternoon? Will it still continue to be there till the end of the day? Should I need to worry? Should I store some water away? How many of us worry about the water in the water tap? We don't. Question is why? Because somewhere deep down in my heart, I know that my tap is connected to an infinite flow. This tap, the water in the tap is connected to an infinite source. And therefore, when I go to sleep, I'm not worried about it. But when it comes to my risk, I lack that confidence that it is connected to that infinite source. And that's why I'm still worried in the night. When I go to sleep, I'm worried what will happen tomorrow. What if I lose my job? What if I get demoted? What if I lose currency, cryptocurrency? What if I lose in the stocks? If I have that faith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolute infinite, and He can give infinite risk, and He can give me infinite, friends, financial support, then when I'm giving away sadaqah, then I will not worry about whether it's 50, 10, 20, 100, 500. Why? Because you have the confidence that today it's there, tomorrow it will be there. Brothers and sisters, till now, where are you getting your risk from? You are bringing it. Your boss is giving it to you. Your neighbors are giving it to you. It's the Imam of the time and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has been giving you so far, and they will continue to give you. We need to have that confidence. So the youth that I was having a discussion with, they were saying that, Maulana, this is what happens when it comes to, for example, giving donations to the center. When it comes to giving donations to center, we're like, okay, I think 200 is good. Then I asked them, why not 1,000? Like, oh no, but I have my own financial plans. And that's why I tell them that when you let and when you give more, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you more. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right at the beginning in the Quran, He says, Mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun. From whatever we have given you as risk, yunfiqun. Now, even if now you have this little speck of doubt and worry in your heart, let me elaborate a little more and make you feel comfortable. That you're actually not losing out on anything. When you're giving sadaqah, you're not losing out on anything. Why? Because of this fundamental, essential concept that the true owner of all the mal in all the kainat is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am not the owner of it. Who owns the mal? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the Imam of the time as the wali to look after the mal. So whatever is zahir in our hands, and the gold and silver and diamonds and the treasures that we see, that is already here. And whatever is batin, hidden under the grounds, all the treasures, Imam Zamana Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, he is the true owner of it. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned him as the wali, the guardian. So he is the true owner of it. So what is my role? I am just a temporary holder of this mal. Today it's with me, tomorrow it'll pass on to somebody else. And that's why when you die, your mal goes to your waris. It's not sent with you to your grave. That means you're only a temporary holder. But what does Imam say? He says, okay, you've been holding on to this mal for so long that somewhere deep down you started feeling like you're the owner of the mal. It generally happens in India. There's a law. I don't know if there's a law in Pakistan as well or other countries that if a tenant stays in a house for 30 plus years, then he can appeal in the court for the ownership of the house. Why? Because he's been staying in this house for 30 long years and somewhere deep down he starts feeling ownership of the house, and he can go and claim in the court, contest it, and if court feels rightfully, he should be provided ownership, he would be provided ownership. I don't know if the law still exists or not, but it used to be there. Similar is the case with us. That this mal which is truly belongs to the Imam of the time and we are temporary holders, because we've been holding on to it for such a long time, somewhere we start feeling ownership for it. Oh, this is my mal. This is my mal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَا, whatever we gave you that you're holding in your hand, yunfiqun. So if I tell Brother Abbas, can you hold on to these 5 tabarruks? 5 my tabarruks. So Brother Abbas is holding on to it. Then I say, give one to, give one to Brother Ilyas, give one to Brother Murtuza, give one to Shujaat Ali, give one to, Brother Danish. Now, as he keeps giving away, when the last one is left, somewhere he feels that Maulana should give this to me. I've been holding on to this 5 tabarruk for last 20 minutes, and he's easily giving it away to this person, that person, Brother Adil, Brother Bilal, but the last one he should give it to me. Right? Somewhere it's there. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, that I have made you a temporary holder of the mal, but from whatever I have given you, yunfiqun, give infaq. So will Brother Abbas feel a little hesitant in giving away 4 tabarruk when I'm asking him to give away? He should not. Why? Because I am the owner, he is not. And when I say, brother, give 2 tabarruk to, let's say, X person, and he's like, why 2? Let me just give 1. What will I say as an owner? Oh, so now when it's time for me to compensate you, I'm going to play stingy. So when it comes to mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun, when we tighten our fist, we don't open it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tightens his fist. He doesn't open it for us. So this is something that we need to realize, that we are absolutely dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Imam of the time. And they are the infinite source for everything. And therefore we should not feel hesitant about anything at all when it comes to giving away in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are 3 states or 3 levels or 3 aspects on which we can be dependent on the Imam of our time. One is for our dunyavi needs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that whatever you want in your life, seek it from me. And we know that Imam-e-Zamana is the interface between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and us. So it will come only through him. Right? So right from the salt, all the way to, Porsche, or whatever is your dream, a yacht in Lexus? Tesla. I don't know, what's the latest model S or whatever it is, I don't know. So whatever, you can ask anything from the Imam of the time, and there's nothing wrong about it. Seek dunya. But there's a challenge with it. And the challenge is, sometimes when we're seeking dunyavi elements from the Imam of the time, we tend to throw tantrums about it. Oh Mawla, give this to me. And if you don't give this to me, I will stop offering namaz. And this has happened. Forget about the car. Car is a luxury item. There are instances where we've seen people reporting this to us, that the mother is sitting in the hospital, the child is in the ICU, young son is in the ICU, and the mother is talking to the imam of the time that, oh imam, save my child. If you don't save my child, I will stop wearing hijab. I will stop offering namaz. I will stop fasting for you. So when you're dependent on the imam of the time for dunyavi items, dunyavi materialistic things, then when you see that your wishes are not being fulfilled, you start severing away from the imam of the time. That means there's a huge misunderstanding that's happening here. And what is that a misunderstanding? The misunderstanding is that the object is more important than the wasila. That means my hajat is more important than the wasila who's bringing it to me. And why does this happen? Why does this happen? Imagine the scenario. You go to Amazon.com, you pick an item, you say, I want to buy X item. You place the order, address, phone number, everything. And this Amazon guy comes knocking on your door. You open the door. Tell me, what is important for you? The Amazon guy or the product? The product. And you say, the product is important for me. Let me take the product. Forget the Amazon guy. And this is true when it comes to something like this. This is where the problem lies. When you're seeking dunyavi items, then you're focused on this item and not the wasila. You're looking at the imam of the time as a postman who's bringing a letter to you. So you take the letter, you ignore the postman. And that's why don't seek only dunya from the imam of the time. But let's look at another example, which will make things clear for you. If you're doing your PhD program and you want to learn the secrets of your subject, then you go and look for an extremely knowledgeable and efficient professor. And he conducts classes for you and he gives you this knowledge that you're seeking. Tell me, what is more important for you here? The knowledge or the professor? Who matters the most? The professor. The wasila matters here, not the knowledge. Why? Because you know all of this lies with the wasila. As long as I am holding on to the professor, I will continue to get this. But the moment I catch on to the knowledge and ignore the professor, I will lose the subsequent knowledge that I'm supposed to get. And that's why there's a challenge, there's a problem when you depend on the imam of the time only for your dunyavi needs. Your dependency, your desperation for dunyavi needs. That, oh Mawla, I want this, give me this. If you're not giving this to me, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to connect with you. The second level of dependency is dependency on the akhirah. That you're dependent on the Mawla of the time to enhance your akhirat. Where you're seeking marifat, you say, oh Mawla, give me marifat, give me understanding, give me deeper understanding of the reality, the haqq, the truth. Elevate my spirituality. And this is better than the first level. Let me repeat this. There's nothing wrong with the first level, but it comes with a problem. It comes with a flaw. And the flaw is that you tend to treat wasila at a lower level and you focus on the hajat itself. That's the problem with that. But when you look at the second level, here you understand that the hajat that I have is a metaphysical, a spiritual hajat, and it is absolutely dependent on the wasila. And therefore, I just don't need to hold on to the hajat, but I also need to hold on to the wasila. And this is what all the Aimma alayhi salam and the du'as are trying to tell us. Qasimul Jannah. Who's Qasimul Jannah? Imam Ali alayhi salam. He says, hold on to the daman of Imam Ali alayhi salam. If you want Jannah, hold on to him. If you want Jannah, hold on to the daman of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. When you cry for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, you get Jannah. If you want to understand the true reality, hold on to the daman of Bibi Fatima Salamullah alayha. So the Ahlul Bayt has been trying to tell this to us, that wasila is more important than what you're seeking from the wasila. Because wasila is the source through which you're getting it. That is the second level of dependency. That one, I'm seeking dunya from you. Two, I'm seeking akhirat from you. But there's a higher level of dependency on the Imam of our time. And that higher level of dependency is that, oh Mawla, I want you because you are worthy of wanting. You are that I want. So now, earlier, wasila and hajat. Hajat important, wasila not important. Later on, wasila and hajat. Hajat also important, wasila also important. But in the third level, the hajat and the wasila both are one and the same, and I am seeking only one thing, and that is you. There's a huge difference. My hajat is you. I want you, my Imam. Earlier, I want a Tesla. Mawla, give it to me. I get the Tesla, I forget Mawla. Later on, I want Jannah. Mawla, give it to me. When I get Jannah, I'm happy. Wasila is also important. Third, Mawla, I want you. And when I get Mawla, I'm getting my hajat and I'm also getting my wasila. There's a huge difference between second level and third level. And this is what is expected of the mu'mineen alayhi salam. That we need to understand that the mu'mineen who are the followers of Imam Zamana, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, please recite a salawat. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal faraj. That it is expected of them to seek the Mawla for the Mawla. The way Imam Ali alayhi salam says that, oh Allah, I worship you because you're worthy of worship. I'm seeking you for you. I'm not seeking you for Jannah. I'm not seeking you for Firdaus. I'm not seeking you for that higher elevated status. I'm not seeking you for the karamat that I get because of worshipping you. When I worship you, you bless me with karamat. I can do miracles. But I'm not seeking you for that. I'm seeking you for you. Why? Because you're worthy of it. And that's why we need to seek our Mawla for Him being our Mawla. A abd is truly an abd when he is with the Mawla. When the abd is severed from the Mawla, then he is no longer abd. There's a very famous narration where Imam Kazim alayhi salam is passing outside. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alim. From the lanes, and he hears music and singing coming from a door, from a house. He stops by, he calls upon an abd, and he says, whose house is this? He says, it's the house of Falani. And Imam Kazim alayhi salam says that probably he presumes he is hur, he is free, and therefore this actions. And then he walks away. The slave comes inside and informs this person of that this is what Imam Kazim alayhi salam said. He understands and realizes what Imam is trying to say. He comes running after Imam, without slippers, without shoes, in that very state that he was. He says, Mawla, I am really sorry. I understood your message. I am not free. I am abd. And I am your abd and Allah's abd. I'm your follower and abd khuda. I'm not free. Meaning that I follow the guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from that day onwards, till he died, he never wore slippers. So that he could remind himself constantly that I am abd. So an abd holds value when he is with his Mawla. But the moment he gets severed from the Mawla, then he loses his value as abd. There's another very famous narration about Imam Ali alayhi salam. That Imam Ali alayhi salam is traveling on camels. There are about 15 or 20 camels. And apparently Abu Zar Ghaffari is sitting, or Salman Farsi is sitting on the camel. He's holding the reins of the camel. and a needy person comes across Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Imam says, what do you want? He comes, Mawla helps me. He says, okay, what do you want? He says, I'm hungry, I need some food. So he says, okay, get some bread for this person. So some of his slaves go looking for the bread. It takes a little longer. Says, what happened? Says, they're trying to unload the bread. Like, forget it. Give the whole camel to this person. Earlier it was one bread. He says, give the bread to the person. Like, they're not able to find, they're trying to unload the bread. He says, forget it. Give the whole camel with all the bread to this person. Then it takes a little more longer. He says, what happened? He says, among these 15 camels, we don't know which one carries the bread. So we are trying to locate that camel which carries the bread. He says, forget it, give all the 15 camels to him. Immediately, Abu Zar Ghafari leaves the reins of the camel. Imam Ali says, what happened, Abu Zar? Why did you leave the reins of the camel? He says, Mawla, you seem to be in a very good mood today. From one bread, you decided to give the camel, and then you decided to give all the 15 camel. It shouldn't be so that you decide, oh, Abu Zar, take all the 15 camels and go with him. I don't want to lose a Mawla like you. Do you understand? Abu Zar is worried about losing a Mawla like this. So we should be worried about this, that I should always be seen with my Mawla. I should not be disconnected with him. My dependency should always be clear, declared that I am dependent on the Mawla of the time. You remember this story from the Holy Quran, where Janab Ibrahim alayhi salam tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, I want to witness how you breathe life into beings. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, fine, I'll tell you the process. He says, get 4 birds, chop them, mix their meat, take the meat and place it on 4 different mountains, and then come back to that location and call upon these birds. This is the story that is there as part of the verse. Now, what do you think? Janab Ibrahim went and took some random birds that were flying here and there. This is the important point here. That in the tafsir of this verse, it is mentioned that the domesticated birds that he had at his house, from the ducks and the turkeys and the hens and the, I don't know what other birds, he took 4 birds and he chopped them, he mixed their meat and then put them away on the 4 mountains. And when he called the birds came to him with the same attention, same love, same attraction that they used to come to him when he used to call them at their house. And with that swiftness, they swiftly flew to him as if they are flowing back to their Mawla. So now, here's our question, that if the Imam of the time calls upon me, will I be so swift in flying to the Imam of the time to be at his service? Or are my legs chained to the dunya? Has the dunya chained my legs and I am attached to the dunya? I'm worried about my Tesla, I'm worried about my HDB, I'm worried about my condo, I'm worried about my EMIs, I'm worried about my high positions and pending promotions or my investments in stocks. Or the moment my Mawla says, come to me, I fly to him swiftly. When does this flying swiftly happen? When there is love between the bird and the Mawla. But is there enough love between me and my Mawla is what we need to look at. That if I realize that I have enough... Please recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. That if there is enough love between me and my Mawla, I would swiftly fly to him. But if the love for me is for dunya, the love that I have in me is for dunya, then irrespective of how much my Mawla calls upon me, I would not fly to him. And this is what was happening in the Maidan of Karbala, in the battlefield of Karbala, where Imam Hussein alayhi salam was calling upon after the martyrdom of the Ashab and the martyrdom of the Bani Hashim, and there was no one left with Imam. He called upon the people, Hal min nasir. Is there anyone to help? And no one came to the Mawla. And this proves that there were no more lovers of Mawla left. And what was left with were those people whose legs and feet were chained to the dunya, to the rewards that Yazid had promised, to the rewards that Ubaidullah had promised. They were looking at the Imam not as the Mawla, but looking at the head of Imam as a reward that they will carry along with them. So when Imam called out Hal min Nasir, the response was not love and swiftly flying to the Imam, but the response was arrows. The response was daggers. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam went to the battlefield after the martyrdom of Janabe Asghar alayhi salam, he was calling on to the people and is saying that you have martyred my Ali Akbar. Take this attack on behalf of Ali Akbar. Let me show you the courage of Ali Akbar. You martyred my Abbas, and here's the attack from the Abbas. Understand what you have done to me. Understand the harm you've caused to the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And eventually the time came when the enemy gathered around Imam Hussein alayhi salam and they attacked him from all the sides, and finally they martyred the Imam. But today, we have come here to declare our love to the Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We've come here to declare our attachment. We've come here to tell the Imam Hussein alayhi salam that we are your lovers. You are our Mawla. Oh Mawla, we know we've sinned a lot. Oh Mawla, we know we are not the pure ones. But Mawla, you're so benevolent that on the day of Ashura, someone like Hur came to you and you forgave him. We are also equally sinful. We know that when we come to you and beg for forgiveness, you will forgive our sins. I know I have broken my promises with you, Mawla. Last Arbain, I promised you I will not sin. Last Arbain, I promised you I will be a good person. I will offer namaz awwal waqt. I will do charity, but I've broken all my promises. I know I have broken all my promises, and that's why today I come to you, munkasiran, nadiman, haqira, like a beggar who has empty hands. I've come to your door begging to accept me as your abd, to accept me as a banda, to forgive me the way you have forgiven the whole, and give me another chance to serve you. After the day of Ashura, when the Haram were taken to the Kufa, from the Kufa it was decided to take them to Darbar-e-Sham. Yes, brothers and sisters, the Darbar-e-Sham was a very painful event. Every time you ask Imam Sajjad alayhi salam that Imam, what was the most painful event for you? He says, Asham, Asham, Asham. The people ask him, why Mawla? Why is not the day of Ashura the most painful for you? Your brothers were martyred. Ali Akbar was torn into pieces. He was irban. Janabe Abbas, his hands were severed. When he fell from the horse, he had no hands to support himself. He fell on the face. This is such a great calamity. There was an arrow pierced in his eye when he fell on the ground. So why are not these calamities the most difficult ones? He says, what should I tell you about Sham? Where do I begin to tell you about Sham? The Bibis were with me. The daughters of Fatima are with me. Their hands are tied together. Even the little little Sakina is tied in the same rope. When the elders would stand up and move, Sakina would get choked in her throat. And when they were passing through the bazaar, people were clapping and mocking on them. What should I tell you about Sham? Do you know about the Darbar of Sham? The most painful event for Imam Sajjad is the Darbar of Sham. It is mentioned that there were 7 doors through which the Ahlul Bayt had to pass through and reach the Darbar of Sham. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you this. There is Darbar of Kufa and there is Darbar of Sham. In Darbar of Kufa, people knew Imam Ali alayhi salam. They knew Bibi Zainab is the Shahzadi. They had shown a little respect. But in Darbar Sham, people knew Ali as the enemy. And when Bibi Zainab came, nobody knew Zainab. And everyone started asking, where is Zainab? And all Namehram were pointing out to Zainab. And the Namehram were looking at Bibi Zainab. The other Bibis were trying to surround the Bibi and cover her up. You know another thing that bothered the most? In Darbar Kufa, Yazid was not there. Alcohol was not being served. But in Darbar Sham, the people were sitting who had alcohol and glasses of wine in their hands. They were sipping on the wine and looking at the women folk of Bibi Fatima. This was the most painful event. Imam Sajjad steps up and covers Bibi Zainab behind him. And then there is a tash that is brought forward. It is covered with a cloth. When the cloth is taken away, the head of Imam Hussein is placed in the tash. Yazid wants to taunt Bibi Zainab. He says, did you see what Allah did to the youth and He did to your brother? Bibi Zainab says, Ma ramaito illa jamila. You can try your best, Yazid, but my ummah will not forget our grief. They will continue shedding tears till the day of Qiyamah. And Bibi Zainab starts the khutbah reprimanding the Yazid. Yazid realizes that after I killed all the Bani Hashim, after I have severed the head of Imam Hussein, after we have carried his head on the lances, Bibi Zainab is not broken. She still stands strong like Ali. He had to choose an option to keep her mouth shut. He picks up a stick. He starts smashing on the head of Imam Hussein. He starts smashing on the lips of Imam Hussein. Oh, brothers and sisters, little Sakina is standing there. The 4-year-old daughter is looking at the head of the father. The severed head drenched in blood is being smashed by the stick. Then they move to the Zindan. Bibi Sakina goes to sleep. She sees her Baba in the dream. Her heart cries out for the Baba. She wakes up and starts crying for Baba. Abi, Aina Abi. The commotion is such great that the message reaches the Yazid. Instead of consoling the 4-year-old who chooses a way to taunt the 4-year-old, like I said, brothers and sisters, when the little daughter cries for the father, you distract her with some toy, you distract her with some milk, you distract her with some sweets. But what did Yazid send for Sakina? He sends the severed head of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The head is wounded by the stake of the Yazid. The head is handed over to the 4-year-old daughter. She takes the head, looks at the face of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, wanted to complain to Baba. Baba, do you know what happened with me? Baba, my daman was set on fire. Baba, when I used to cry for you, Sheikh wanted to slap me. Baba, when I wanted to cry for you, I was whipped with the hand. Baba, the foot means zinda. But she looks at the face of Imam Hussein, looks at the calamities that has fallen upon the Imam Hussein. The face is covered with the blood of Asghar. The face is covered with the blood of Ali Akbar. The forehead is torn with the stones. The arrows are pierced in the face. She lets out one last scream. Oh, Baba! Ala lanatullahi alal qawmi zalimin. Brothers and sisters, don't wipe away your tears. These tears are the tears of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These tears carry shafa in them. Take the tears and wipe on your forehead. Take the tears and wipe on your heart. And pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqin azadari for the blessings of these tears. Oh Allah, make us closer to the Imam of our time. Oh Allah, all those who are sick and unwell, please grant them shifa. Oh Allah, all those who are poor and unwell and unhealthy or lack financial support, grant them financial support. All those who do not have children, grant them children. All those who have grown old, give them strength and courage and give them a long life. Oh Allah, bihaqqe shabe arba'in, bihaqqe azadari, protect our Maharaja Ikram, particularly Ayatollah Sistani, Ayatollah Makarim Shirazi, Ayatollah Khamenei. Prolong their lives, give them a healthy long life. Nare Haidari and Salawat.